Barbara Keisman. This is my niece, Brandi. And this story is going to be a little bit different because, and I've experienced this before, when God leads you into a situation, you swear as God, but man, when you get into that situation, it's like, what's up, Lord? This isn't going the way I anticipated. Brandi, go ahead and tell when that happened to you.
I was a new believer, and I needed a house for my children. Right. And I prayed and I asked the Lord, and what I found was what I thought was from Him, this perfect house for us. And
perfect house.
So when it was being looked at, it was covered wall-to-wall furniture. It was beautiful. They had all this stuff in there. It was a wonderful house. I bought it, moved in, opened the doors, no furniture. And what I saw was when you walk across the living room, there was a 6-inch drop. The foundation was
messed up,
ruined. Yeah, there was no
which would have totally devalued the house.
Completely devalued the house. It wasn't disclosed. It was a complete surprise. And it was obvious. And I thought, well, I'll figure out a way to fix this real quick. They lied, but there was no repercussions. I was stuck with the house. And everybody that walked into the house and walked across the living room said, what is wrong with your house?
It doesn't end here. It doesn't end here. There's more that happens to this house that is worse and worse and worse.
Right after we bought the house, a few years later is when the market crashed, and then whatever little value it had left from being devalued also dropped with the market. So then it just wasn't worth anything. I never could refinance to get something back when the interest rates got better. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do anything. And 12 years in, I got married and we were going to move, and we couldn't sell the house. If we sold the house, we would still owe a mortgage because it was worth that little. And I had prayed and prayed and prayed, Lord, send me somebody to fix this house.
Very confusing.
Mm-hmm. And it never got fixed and never got the money to fix it. It is what it is. And so the best we could do would be rent it, but renting it meant that we would count on somebody to pay our mortgage. We weren't making any money. Still no money. And so we did. And we had a couple good renters, and then we had a really bad renter that had a meth lab in our house. We had to pay $15,000 and go to court just to make it livable again. We had it condemned.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was really bad.
So how did the Lord redeem this situation? Or did He?
He did. He did redeem the situation. And I was astounded. Recently, as the market upturned, we felt like the Lord was saying to sell.
Okay.
And so we began to flip the house and get it ready to sell. The day that we decided this, my renter was like, I'm buying a house and I'm moving out. So we didn't have to get her out, nothing like that. It was so seamless. And we began to flip the house. And it was such a blessing to restore the house. We finally restored the house. We fixed the floor. We leveled the floor. It was beautiful to sell it to somebody else. And in and of itself was so good.
Yeah.
But in the midst of it, the Lord said, I want you to write down what you've lost. And so I wrote down what I lost. I lost in fixing after the meth lab.
Right.
I lost in paying $5,000 to level the floor. I lost in all the money that it took to redo the flooring. And then I also, and I didn't realize this, I had lost every month for 7 years or 8 years that we had rented, but we didn't receive anything because it only paid the mortgage, or we had to cover the mortgage. So there was 12 payments a year for 8 years. And He said, add that up.
Okay.
And that was what we got from the sale of the house.
You know, I love what Brandi, she didn't give it away this way she received it. She took the loss and made sure she didn't do to others what was done to hers. And we're not supposed to return evil for evil. That's what the Bible challenges us to do, right? And it's like she just, sometimes things don't go the way we think they're going to go. And I told Brandi, I says, when the Israelites followed God in the wilderness, they started to grumble. Things weren't the way they thought it was supposed to be. But God tests our hearts in the difficult times. He says, are you still going to follow me in the hard times when things are confusing, when you don't get it? Are you still going to continue to do right, what's right? And Brandi did. And you know what? Lord, is a restorer. He restores what the enemy stole. And this is a perfect story. And thank you for sharing that, Brandi. And again, what God has done for one, he will do for another when you do it God's way. And Brandi and her husband did it God's way. They did not give away something in the same condition that they had received it. Anyway, I'm Barb Keisman, and you've been listening to Dare to Dream Once More.